Hey YouTube, this is Ozark's brother Jerry, and thought I'd give you a little update of what's happening around the homestead. We recently had 9 inches of rain in 6 hours, and it wiped out. I'm at ground zero for that event, and it wiped out all the bridges around me, pretty much all. So like a trip to town used to be 32 miles, now the same trip's like 46, but I actually feel safer with with the bridges out. So, and it'll be years. It's got to be a couple years by the time they contract and get the big ones built. But so I learned a few things, and I want to talk about that from the power outage. And I lost power at 9 o'clock at night, and I had forgot that. When the power came back on, it was 3 days later, and I went to set my timer on the hot water heater, and it was already set. It was at 9 o'clock, so it was exactly 3 days that my power was out. So that wasn't lost on me. But I thought I'd indulge you, and I'll show you some of the bridges that are out. And please forgive the heavy breathing in one segment. I had just scaled the side of a bridge, and man, that microphone's sensitive. So so check out the flood here. So this is the Patrick Bridge. One of the bridges devastated by the flood down here. You can see on the far side there's a park. The devastation. Just the concrete slabs are left. This is what's left of the James Bridge. What you see there, I guess, are the bottoms of the road, and then you see the steel attached to the side of it. I don't know if you can see that or not.
Moves as they walk across it. That's
Yeah, you wouldn't think a steel bridge would move with just 3 people walking on it.
You wouldn't think so, would you? It did.
This is the Hammond Bridge. It's the big one. And there's the remains of the bridge. Washed it about 150 yards downstream. Concrete and steel, it's a couple 100 feet long. That's just hard to believe. But actually that's a federal park on the other side, so if we're lucky it'll take a couple years to get rebuilt. That's a close-up of the bridge that washed downstream. That is that's 1-inch steel that just bent by the current. Just like a pretzel. Now I'm on the piece of the bridge that floated downstream or was pushed downstream. I climbed up here. Once again, this is the Hammond Bridge to nowhere. About 5 feet. Walking towards the end here. Well, that's something, isn't it? I've never had that kind of destruction that close to me. I grew up along the Mississippi, but you know, that destruction affected me less. Plus, I was a kid. I probably didn't realize what was going on, the big floods. But the biggest thing that happened was, so there's 3 things that affected me. The biggest thing was North Korea had just launched their 2nd missile. And the Donald had warned them, and I had forgot about that at the time. Then people were talking about it, so I was a little apprehensive about that. And I've got a backup power system, so and I got generators. So I mean, I could watch TV, but you know how TV news is. So it's pretty much without news. So that really affected me. So what I did to mitigate that for the next time is I went and got a decent cell phone. I fought that for years. I've got a little track phone. And their web browser just didn't do it for me, and mine actually just quit working. So now I went and got a decent phone with a company that has their lines around here. So that's number 1. Number 2 is like I said, I have generators and backup solar, but I don't have a main feed into my breaker box or anything. So you know, like I'd run my refrigerator and freezer an hour at a time, 2 or 3 times a day, and I thought, well, I'll watch some TV. So then I'd run a second extension cord for the TV, or maybe I'll run one to the computer. And I'm just tripping over extension cords everywhere. So, I mean, I was able to get by, but my solution for that is some friends have built a suicide cord, and if you don't know what that is, that's where you take and shut off the power coming into your house, and then you backfeed with the generator through a 220 outlet, and then it electrifies your entire house. So I went and purchased the wire and the plug for that. And I know the dangers of that. I mean, if you had that running and your main breaker is on, you could electrocute someone down the line. But you know, it would just be really nice to be able to use everything in the house. And then number 3 is, you know, I like being a dutiful survivalist. I do have the shortwave radio, but man, what stations do you listen to? So, you know, I listen and listen, and I just pick up this preacher on 5 or 6 different 5 or 6 different stations, and yeah, actually he was good to listen to, but you know, I wanted some news, so that was my third downfall was not having stations identified ahead of time to pick up news. So I've rectified that. I've got a few now, and I'm going to keep consolidating them. So I think I've taken care of everything that the lessons learned from that event. So maybe in the next YouTuber we'll do a goat update. All right, have a good day.